402 horsepower. All-wheel drive on every single trim. LiDAR on every single trim, matrix headlights on every single trim. A refrigerator sitting between the front seats that freezes down to -4 degrees Fahrenheit, and massage seats that work your back, your shoulders, and the cushion underneath you across 18 separate points. Now guess the price. Fully loaded, every option box ticked, this SUV lands at roughly $35,000 to $39,000 US at current exchange rates. You cannot buy it in America. And that is exactly why you need to know it exists. Because buried in this spec sheet is one charging number that should be impossible on a car that also carries a gas tank. And once you hear it, every electric car on an American dealer lot is going to look a little slower. Here is why this matters to your wallet, even though this thing will never sit in your driveway. This is the 2026 Li Auto L6, and it is the benchmark your next family SUV is quietly being priced against. When you sign paperwork on a Model Y, or on a loaded Grand Highlander pushing into the mid-50s, you are paying for a market that has never once had to answer this car. Nearly 400,000 of them have sold since the spring of 2024. Even in the most brutal car market on Earth, it still moves about 5,000 units every single month. That is not a curiosity. That is a family SUV outselling most of what sits on your local lot, at a price that would embarrass a mid-trim sedan. 60 months of payments is a very long time to spend on a car built for a market with no real competition. Consider the next 10 minutes ammunition for your next negotiation, and a preview of the pressure coming for every automaker you currently shop. Start with what this thing actually is, because Americans do not really have this category. It is a range-extended electric SUV, 194 inches long, which drops it right into Grand Highlander territory. The wheels are always driven by electric motors, 174 horsepower at the front, 228 at the rear, 402 combined. There is a 1.5-liter gas engine under the hood, but it never touches the wheels. It is a generator, and nothing else. Feeding those motors is a 51 kilowatt-hour battery, good for about 186 miles of city electric range on China's test cycle. For most families, that means you commute all week on electricity and plug in once. Run the battery down on a road trip and the 13.2-gallon tank quietly takes over. No range anxiety, no charging stop math on the way to the lake. You just drive, the way you did before any of this got complicated. And here is the first number that makes the spec sheet feel wrong. On China's testing standard, this thing hit 62 miles per hour in 4.9 seconds. Not 60-62. The American figure would land quicker still, and nobody has strapped a timing box to one of these on a soil. So I am not going to hand you a number I cannot stand behind. What matters is the direction it moved. Last year's car took 5.5 seconds to that same mark. The motors did not change. The bigger battery can physically push more current, so the same hardware finally gets fed properly. Your Grand Highlander Hybrid Max does not do that. Most things under 50 grand do not do that, but straight line speed is the boring part, because the chassis got a personality transplant. The suspension is now dual-valve adaptive dampers on steel springs, with newly fitted full aluminum control arms. And then Li Auto did something almost no manufacturer has the spine to do. Younger buyers complained that the old car floated like its bigger, softer siblings. So the engineers deliberately firmed it up. On purpose, knowing it would cost them the comfort crowd. The people who have tested it, including a man whose entire reputation is built on complaining that everything is too soft, came back saying this is the first car in ages they would call firmer than average, even in comfort mode. Quick to change direction. Firm enough that a middle-aged spine would happily take 30% less of it, which tells you exactly who this tune was built for. Now here is the part the spec sheet is hiding. Despite that firm setup, the small sharp vibrations that normally buzz through a stiff chassis simply are not there. Double laminated glass all the way around. Road noise control rated the best in its class. The only thing that sneaks through is a little tire roar from the wide rubber. About that rubber, 265 section Pirelli P0s on the optional 21-inch wheels, with 20 standard. That is a tire width you used to find on premium performance SUVs costing twice as much. Sitting under a family hauler priced like a Camry. Inside is where the ambush really happens. The dashboard carries the same seamless widescreen dual display as the brand's flagship, running at 60 Hz instead of the flagship's 90, and that refresh rate is genuinely the biggest difference between them. Soft touch surfaces grew 20% over the old car, running all the way down the lower door panels into the places where every manufacturer on Earth cheats. The climate vents are fully electric, so the car can aim air right at you or deliberately away from you from the screen. There's a 1/4-inch camera mount by the mirror with its own power feed, running a factory integrated 360-degree action camera that plays your footage back across that giant screen. The second row reclines to about 140 degrees and gets a boss button, so the person sitting behind can shove the front passenger seat out of the way without asking. Option the 4K 21.4-inch ceiling screen, and the back of that cabin stops being seating and starts being a room. And then there is the fridge, slush mode. Deep freeze at -4 degrees Fahrenheit. Gentle chill at 37 degrees for medicine or baby milk. Presets for hot drinks. One tester filmed this car in 104-degree heat, nearly went down, pulled a cold drink out of that box, and walked away declaring it non-negotiable equipment for the rest of his life. Picture the school run in August. Picture the last hour of a 5-hour drive with kids in the back. You understand immediately. Now the safety hardware, because this is where American shoppers should pay closest attention. LiDAR standard. Every trim, the advanced driver assistance software. Free. Every trim. A far side airbag for the driver, which most competitors at this price simply do not fit. Multi-element matrix adaptive headlights that used to be reserved for the flagship. Now standard on the cheapest version on the lot. Want more? One option box adds 3 short-range LiDARs and a second in-house M100 chip, taking total compute past 2,000 tops. That is hardware headroom aimed squarely at level 3 driving. That does not exist yet. That all sounds great until you hear what this car still refuses to give you. No air suspension. At any price, no rear tray tables, which for a family hauler is a genuine miss. No household outlet anywhere in the cabin. An external power output for camping is stuck at 3.5 kilowatts, in an era when roughly 99% of new launches hand you 6. But none of that is the headline. Here it is. Slow down for this one. The old L6 charged at 75 kilowatts, owners called it the single worst thing about the car. Not a complaint. A verdict. The new one charges at 240 kilowatts. Testers have observed peaks between 250 and 270 on a 400-volt architecture, not 800-400. That is a 4 to 5 C charging rate. And on a 51 kilowatt-hour battery, it means 10 minutes on the plug restores a huge slice of your range. 10 minutes. Now think about the last time you watched an electric car on an American lot crawl its way up to 80% while you looked for something to do. One long-term owner of the brand tells the same story every time he is asked. His wife and kids have never once seen the car charge. They walk into the rest stop, use the restroom, buy a snack, walk back out, and the car is already waiting at the door. A gas-backed family SUV that fills its battery faster than most pure electric cars sold in the United States. For the price of a nicely equipped Camry. So the verdict, if this car were sold in America, the play would be simple. Buy the standard trim. Keep the 20-inch wheels for cheaper tires and a better ride. Skip the powered front doors. Skip the premium audio. Skip the rear ceiling screen. Take the money you saved and spend it on exactly one option box. The fridge, who should walk away? Anyone who wants a plush, floaty highway cruiser. This suspension was tuned firm on purpose, and there is no air ride to soften it, and no amount of wanting will change that. But you cannot buy it. That is the real takeaway, and that is the loop I opened at the start. The impossible charging number is not the point. The point is that it exists in a car this cheap, and the market you shop in has never once been forced to answer it. So the next time a salesperson tells you that 400 horsepower, standard LiDAR, and 18-point massage seats belong in the $70,000 aisle, you now know there is a market where all of it costs 400 horsepower with a refrigerator for Camry money. The paperwork you sign next just got a little harder to feel good about.